Hi everyone, my name is Andriana and welcome to Crescent Dreams. I'm currently 20 weeks pregnant and 2 days, so I wanted to make a video about being halfway through my pregnancy, talking about my experience, how I found out, my first trimester versus my second trimester, some of my symptoms, and then I asked people to ask me some questions on my Instagram, so I'm going to be answering those at the end. I'm gonna start off in the beginning when I found out and then move through the weeks leading up until now. So I'll start off by talking about how I found out I was pregnant. I'm 21 and I found out when I was just about 5 weeks pregnant. I have some notes right here, so if I'm looking down, that's why. I'm also moving, so I planned on looking back in my journal where I write like everything every day down as far as symptoms and how I'm feeling and just different things to remember, but I actually packed it, so I'm kind of going based off of my memory and maybe like some pictures and notes and things from my phone that I've been able to find. But I found out because I was 5 days late for my period. The past 4 months before that, I was consistently getting my period right after the full moon, and that didn't happen that month, which I thought was weird. So I was kind of just waiting for it, and then it had been 5 days and I was noticing that my boobs were getting bigger. I had lost a lot of weight and was gaining weight back, so I wasn't thinking too much into it at first, just because I always had bigger boobs before, and I was just thought that I was going back to normal, but little did I know. So I did a tarot card reading the day before I actually took the test, and it had a picture of a pregnant mermaid on my mermaid tarot cards, and that can have other meanings sometimes, so I didn't think anything of it. But then the day that I started thinking, that's kind of weird, I did another reading and I got the same card again, and I also got the Empress card, which is like the mother card. She's pregnant as well, and it's all about fertility and giving life. So I was like, I need to take a test. So I went to the dollar store and got myself a dollar test, and it was positive. It was really crazy to find out that I was pregnant because I didn't really have any symptoms. I just kind of like, I had missed my period and then I didn't think anything of it, and then all of a sudden I was just like, this has to be it. Like, there can't be any other answer. And then the cards, they just did not lie. So it was crazy, and we were both really excited. We were also like very shocked and emotional and like scared to even do anything, but me and my boyfriend went out to eat dinner to celebrate just the two of us, and kind of like calm down and settle our nerves. So that was a really nice moment. We were both really happy, but we were also just like, is this even real? Like, what is life? So yeah, that's how we found out, just before 5 weeks. So when that whole week that I was 5 weeks, I was totally fine. I hadn't really told too many people yet, other than like just my mom and my sister, like a couple of family members that are pretty close to me, and my boyfriend obviously. And that week I was fine, and I wasn't having any symptoms still, other than just like I could tell that my boobs were getting a little bigger, and that was about all. So when I hit 6 weeks, my mom told me a couple days before, she was like, I'm telling you, typically at 6 weeks to the day is when you start getting sick. and I didn't believe her. I was feeling fine and I thought I would be fine, but 6 weeks to the day I woke up and I felt kind of weird, and I was driving to go meet a friend and I threw up in my lap while I was driving because there was nowhere for me to pull over to. So that was a great experience. Yeah, that kick-started the about 6 to probably 16 weeks of feeling horrible. For 6 to probably 12, it was awful. I couldn't eat anything. I didn't feel like a normal person because I wasn't getting hardly any food at all. I couldn't keep anything down, and I didn't want to eat anything because I knew I was gonna throw up, and like just the thought of any food made me feel sick already. It was a really hard time. It's also was like the peak of summertime, and so it's hot, and wasn't probably drinking enough water. So there was multiple times where I passed out because I was so hungry and dehydrated. So I brought up those concerns to my doctor, and he at first didn't take it too seriously because a lot of women have morning sickness, but this was something much worse. So I kept bringing it up, and I ended up getting prescribed nausea medication that really helped me at least be able to eat. But I had to take it like every 6 hours, like the max I could take it every single day, and it still didn't make me not feel nauseous. It kept me from throwing up if I was consistently taking it, but it didn't keep me from feeling still horrible, like just icky, having headaches, being hot. Like I still just did not feel right, like hardly ever. I would wake up and not feel good and go about my day not feeling good and go to sleep not feeling good. So it was really hard for me. I struggle with my mental health on a good day. It's something that I really have to work hard at, and I don't mind doing that. I love taking care of myself, but this made it even harder. So I had my first doctor's appointment at 8 weeks, and this was I was having a rough time, but I wasn't too concerned yet about being so sick. So I keep all of my like pictures and stuff like that in this little box. It just was a jade roller, and I keep everything in here. I have little rose petals from when I did my announcement. I also have the pregnancy test, the first one that I took from the dollar store. And then I also have this other one that I took because I was like, that can't be right. I gotta do a little bit more expensive one. But that one was just as pregnant too. So this is the sonogram pictures from my 8-week appointment. And that was like the craziest thing ever, because obviously like before I went to this appointment I knew I was pregnant, but it didn't really feel real to me until I saw this little like jelly bean thing, this little gummy bear actually on the screen, like coming from me, and it made it so much more real. And hearing the heartbeat was really nice. Sometimes that early you can't even hear it because it's so small, but I was able to hear it, and it was a really special emotional moment for me, and something that has been hard throughout the whole time but started that day was not being able to have my boyfriend with me, just for my own sake too, like in case something went wrong, or just to be there for support because I'm like nervous. I haven't been able to have him be there because of coronavirus, and we are not allowed to bring anybody else to our doctor's appointments at my doctor, so I have to go completely alone to everything. And and for my boyfriend, it's really hard because he can't be there for me and he can't be there to see his baby. So that's been really, really hard with everything going on right now. Luckily at this point I'm pretty well past when there is a higher likelihood of something going wrong, so I feel a lot more comfortable and okay with going to appointments alone. He always like drives me and waits outside for me, but I have to go in alone. But in those first like several months it was hard because I was always thinking like, what if something goes wrong and I'm just sitting here by myself? So I told my friends and family, like my close friends and family, I kind of just told them like here and there around like the 8-week mark when I went to my first appointment. Then I kind of started letting people know, just because like I didn't want people to see me being sick or wonder why I was feeling so bad or not wanting to leave the house or be able to go anywhere. I wanted my people to know that that was the reason why. If anything did go wrong, I also wanted all of those people to be able to be there for me. I definitely recommend telling your close people way before the second trimester mark. It was so nice to not feel like I was keeping a secret from everybody that I love, and I felt so supported. I could feel from almost the beginning of me knowing, I could feel the support and the love from the people that I love for me and for my baby and for my new family. Like I said, I told my family a little bit earlier, but then around 13 weeks, I made an announcement on like Facebook and Instagram and all of that to let any like extended family and friends know that I was expecting. So around then also, I started to feel a little bit better. I started to, because I realized like once I was 13 weeks, I was in my second trimester, and I thought, okay, I should start not taking the nausea medication every 6 hours. I should kind of just take it a little bit less often, slowly, and then try to only use it when I really, really need it. At this point, I don't take it hardly ever, unless I'm like just randomly feeling really horrible. But I started to feel a little better around 13 weeks. Like I could eat at least once a day and felt a little more human. So around then I started doing yoga again. I started working out some, like doing some arm exercises, some leg exercises, and I started doing more things, going out more, actually being able to go to the store, because before then that was like my absolute worst nightmare. I would be like so hungry and want nothing and not even be able to think about stepping foot in a grocery store. I would even drive by and be like I can't, no. So at about 13 weeks, I was able to like sometimes feel good enough to be able to do normal things that I really wanted to do for about a month and a half that I just could not do during that time. When I was 15 weeks, I flew from San Diego to Connecticut. My boyfriend had left a couple weeks before me, so I was flying to Connecticut alone, and I was really, really nervous because I wasn't feeling 100% yet, and I thought, like, what if I get sick on the plane? Like, what if I don't feel good? Like, what if something goes wrong? And I did end up throwing up on the plane, but after that, I went back to my seat and then slept for the rest of the flight. Luckily, I had like the whole road to myself, so I was able to lay down and get some rest, which was really nice. But yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I definitely did have some sickness on that flight. I was in Connecticut for 3 weeks, and during those 3 weeks, it kind of like slowly transitioned from still feeling like half the time really bad to, by the end of it, I was feeling like pretty back to normal. I was able to start eating more variety of things, like different things started to sound good to me again, and I was getting out a little bit more and doing more things because we were like on vacation. We were visiting my boyfriend's family in Connecticut and friends, and we had different things that we needed to do and places to be, so I kind of was like forced to be okay, which helped me to actually be okay. So that was really nice, and I was glad to get away from like the stress of being home, because I'm in the middle of moving into my trailer from my parents' house, which they're selling. And then that week that I hit 15 weeks, I also started school. I go to San Diego State, and I'm in my senior year, and school started the week that I flew out, but luckily all my classes are online, so I was able to do all of the work just like I would if I was at home, because I could just use my laptop for everything. But I just had to make sure during that week I was keeping up with school, keeping up with all the things that we were going to go do and the people that we were going to see. And the first few weeks weren't bad at all, so I was able to stay on top of things. But it was nice to be away and be forced to kind of like have to be fine. So at 16 weeks, while we were in Connecticut, we found a 3D, 4D ultrasound place that wasn't too far from where we were staying, and we went there to find out the gender, because we weren't going to be back for a couple more weeks, and I wasn't even sure if like my doctor had an ultrasound scheduled for when I was back, and I wanted to find out, because at my last appointment that I had went to at about 12 weeks, they weren't able to tell yet, because it was still too small. We went to the ultrasound place, and my boyfriend was for the first time able to come with me in the room and see his baby, and we were able to find out together that our baby is a girl. And it was a really awesome experience to finally have him be there for me and be there for her, and to find that out together. I really enjoyed that experience, and we were both just like so happy and excited. And we knew of like since the minute we found out that we were having a baby that it was going to be a girl, because both of us have always talked about how we would really want boys, and we just knew, we were like, there's no way we're gonna have a boy, because we wanted one. So we are gonna have a girl for sure. And I just knew like signs from the universe, signs from my tarot, signs from my pendulum, they all were saying girl. So we both knew all along that it was gonna be a girl. We could only think of girl names. We came up with a name already. We agreed on it before we found out it was a girl. We decided on her first name and her middle name if she was going to be a girl, and we couldn't think of one single boy first name or middle name that we liked or could agree on. So that was another reason that led me to believe that it was probably going to be a girl. Around that time also, I started to I wrote it down on my note, movement ? Because I started feeling something moving-ish, and I wasn't sure. I was like, is this what it is? Am I like, do I have gas? Like, I don't know. I've never been pregnant before, so I don't know exactly what it feels like, but I could kind of feel something moving in there, like every once in a while. I just feel like one little thing. And then, let's see, around 18 weeks was when like I really started, so like 2 weeks ago, I really was able to start feeling her and like knew that it was her. all kinds of little like flutters here and there. And over the past few days, she's actually been kind of going nuts, like moving a lot, like a lot of movement at one time and kind of frequently. And my boyfriend was able to feel her move, and then one of my really good friends was able to feel like a punch or a kick or something really strong after she was like feeling for a minute and wasn't feeling anything, but I was. She was like, I can't feel it, and then the baby was like, bam, you feel it now? Past couple weeks, so I'm 20 weeks now, so about 18 to 20, I've been having really severe back pain on my right lower back side. I've been trying to do yoga, I've been trying to like do stretching, roll it out, send myself Reiki, like I'm trying it all and nothing is really helping. So I'm thinking about seeing a chiropractor or someone that is a professional person that can help me. Maybe get a pregnancy massage because it's pretty painful, and it's been every single day for the past 2 weeks. I've had the same pain in the same place. So I'm really gonna try to get that feeling better. But there's not really much that you can do when you have morning sickness or pain here or pain there. Like it's kind of just like, well, sorry. And with all of these like things and symptoms and like having to pee and this and that, it's like it's all preparing you for a baby. Like I was puking all over the place, my baby's gonna puke all over the place. I gotta pee all the time, the baby's gotta pee all the time. Waking up in the middle of the night every like 2 hours to pee is preparing me for when my baby is gonna be waking me up to feed it. That's about it for like my timeline that I have, but I'll go ahead and show you what my stomach is looking like. So I barely, like just in the past week, I would say, actually like popped. She's like consistently round now, whereas before I just kind of looked like I probably ate a lot, like I went to a buffet, even though I wasn't really eating a lot. But I just kind of looked like, oh, like you gained a little bit there, when actually I was losing weight. So now I'm gaining weight, gaining a little bit of weight at this point, and she's starting to round out and be more of like a consistent actual bump rather than just like a little bit of hudge here. So that's nice. On my Instagram, I asked people to ask me some questions about my pregnancy so far, and I got a few questions that I have some answers to already written down. So I got asked, and this is the question that I get asked like in real life by almost every single person that I come across that finds out that I'm pregnant. They want to know what I'm craving. So from the very beginning, people have been asking me this, and up until recently, I would be like, nothing. Like, I don't want anything. I crave to have nothing, because nothing sounded good. Nothing was appetizing. I did not want anything to do with food, so I was not craving anything. The only thing that I consistently did want during that time was nectarines, and it really disappointed me because I was not always able to keep them down majority of the time in the beginning. I just really wanted fruit, and fruit, when you have that like first thing in the morning, it's a lot of sugar, and if you're feeling nauseous, it just does not mix well. Just the other day I was able to have a banana for the first time since I was 6 weeks, since I was not 6 weeks pregnant. Like, I could not keep a banana down. And but now I have been craving still more fruit. I really still am wanting nectarines. I want tomatoes all the time, but that's how I am normally. I at random times really wanted spaghetti and been like so satisfied when I get spaghetti. I have been wanting ceviche for like months, but you're not supposed to have like raw fish, and you're supposed to just be careful about seafood in general. And I also am more plant-based. I don't really eat meat or dairy or any animal products most of the time. I've been giving myself a little bit of slack just because I am a beginner vegan, and I want to make sure that I'm getting enough food since I was struggling with eating. But that being said, I really wanted ceviche, but I was not willing to eat the shrimp. So I found a recipe that uses hearts of palm instead of shrimp, and it's so good. I ate like half of the batch that I made in one sitting, and then the other half later that day. It was a problem, and I'm actually gonna make some more probably later today and I'm gonna double the batch so it will last a little longer. But I love ceviche so much, and I'm so happy that I found a recipe that I really like that does not involve animals. I also have been really liking, I always really like pumpkin seeds, but they have really helped in times where I don't really want to eat like a meal, or I don't want to eat something too big, but I want something. Pumpkin seeds are a good source of protein, so I'll eat like a bunch of protein or a bunch of pumpkin seeds just like while I'm driving somewhere or while I'm doing my homework, just to kind of like be doing something. It was helping me a lot when I was pretty nauseous and not able to eat much. I was able to get a little bit of protein. So it stopped recording because it had been a while. I don't know where exactly it cut out, but I was talking about pumpkin seeds, and I was saying that I was able to get a little bit of protein in eating pumpkin seeds when I wasn't able to eat a ton. And it was nice to like, it's kind of like gum or chewing on ice, like it's giving you something to do that was distracting me from being nauseous and not feeling good. So I just kind of like would snack on pumpkin seeds. I got a question about what are my symptoms, and I kind of went over this as the weeks progressed, but like I said, currently it's mostly the back pain and having to pee constantly, all day, all night, all the time, just always have to pee. I'm really thirsty. Like right now, like my voice is starting to get a little bit hoarse. I'm talking so much. But I'm always really thirsty, so I try to have my big water bottle with me all the time. I try to drink at least like 2 of these a day. I'm really trying to make sure that I stay hydrated because I've had issues with passing out and not getting enough food or water, so I try to make sure that I at least have enough water because that's like essential. My friend asked if I've been having constipation issues, and I actually thought this was an interesting question because when I was feeling really sick and I wasn't able to eat anything and I was taking the nausea medication, I definitely was having issues because my body wanted to do what it's supposed to do, but it had nothing to do that with. So it was causing me a lot of pain and frustration, and especially the nausea medication, it doesn't help with that issue. I burp a lot, very gassy, in case you wanted to know. But now, what I was going to say, I'm not having issues with constipation now because I'm eating a good amount, and I'm not taking the nausea medication hardly ever, so I don't really have that problem because I don't eat dairy. If I was, and when I do sometimes have something that has dairy, it's maybe a slightly different story. But for the most part, I've cut out like cheese and heavy dairy products, so I don't have too much of an issue with that. Someone asked, is being pregnant how I imagined? And when I was trying to think of an answer to this question, I was like, how did I imagine? Like, what did like, it's life before this. What even was it? And what did I think that this was going to be like? But I will say that it was so much worse in the beginning than I could have ever possibly imagined. I've been around a ton of pregnant women my whole life, and my mom I've watched her have like 6 kids in addition to myself. I was there, but I've watched her give birth to my 3 siblings that are my full siblings, to my half sister, and to 2 babies when she was a surrogate. So I've seen a lot of pregnancies and I've seen a lot of births and everything. I've never heard of someone being as sick as I was, and anyone that I know experienced the amount of sickness and aversions to food as I was experiencing. I've struggled with an eating disorder not long ago, so I know that has had an effect. But the amount that I was actually like throwing up just involuntarily, I've never heard of that. And especially going past the 12-week mark, because everyone was just like, oh, just wait till you get to 12 weeks, like it'll be fine, like you'll hit the 2nd trimester and it'll just go away, like you'll just wake up and it'll be gone. And that was just not the case. And I would get so mad at people like, have you tried ginger, have you tried this, like just the things you could Google. And like I know those are things that are supposed to help, and I try them, and none of them would do anything for me. So it was really frustrating once I got to that point and people were like, oh, like, are you feeling better? Like you're done with your 1st trimester now, you should be fine, right? And I'm like, no, I still am not fine. But yeah, so that part is not at all how I imagined. I knew that like morning sickness was a thing, but I didn't know it was that kind of thing, for me at least. Everybody's different, so I don't mean to scare anyone, but in the beginning, what I imagined before I started feeling really bad, I was thinking like, I'm gonna go on hikes, I'm gonna do yoga, I'm gonna like be active, and I'm gonna be so happy and just like a ray of sunshine and rainbows, and I'm gonna be so connected to my body, and I'm gonna meditate and just be a glowing ball of pregnant bliss. That was about a week of that, and then it hit, and it was just not the same, like I said. But now that I'm feeling a lot better, I have so much more energy, I'm more motivated, I've been doing yoga every day, I'm getting back into doing the things that I love and feeling like a normal human being, and not feeling like a pregnant blob of whatever just floating in the wind for months. I feel pretty normal again, and I feel like I don't have to constantly be thinking about being pregnant all the time. I'm able to focus on other things and just like do me, do what I like to do, and all of that. So I'm glad to be a little back. Let's see. Oh, so the last question that I have is from my sister, and she asked, has it changed any of your outlooks on life being pregnant? And what I thought of when she said this was, yes, I feel so much more deeply for animal mothers. I feel so much more passionate about wanting to live a more plant-based life and to stay away from animal products and meat and those things, especially milk. I think all the time about how I would feel or what that would be like for me to have gone through this pregnancy and immediately have my child like taken from me and just be gone, and then I am just being like milked and then doing that over and over again. And I just feel so much for animal mothers who have their babies just taken right away, and then they get their veal now, or they just got because there's nothing else to do with them. I just feel bad for the animals. But even more importantly, I want to say that now that I'm going to be a mom, I feel so much like more passionately about social justice issues than I ever did before, and I already was very passionate about it. I could not imagine what it would be like to lose a child, and to lose them because of police brutality, because of racism, because of any issue that just should not be a reason for someone's child to die or to be murdered. I can't. Like, I will forever stand up for what I believe in, because no mother should have to go through what so many women of color go through in this country. Even if nothing has happened, they're scared. And I can't imagine what that would feel like, because I'm not in that position, but I feel more deeply for those issues now, because I couldn't imagine what that would be like, to be constantly worried for my child's safety because of the color of their skin, or to actually have my worst fear of that come true. So, Black Lives Matter, justice for Breonna Taylor, all those things. Sign petitions, vote, be a good person, be empathetic, understand, stand up for what you believe in. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that, but there you go. I also want to say that being so sick and having such a rough time has really made me more conscious of making sure to ask other pregnant women when you ask how are you doing, don't ask with expecting them to be like, oh, it's going so great, I'm so excited, like, oh, there's a little bundle of joy, yay. Ask them truly because you want to know if they are okay. Ask them what they need from you. How can you support them? Like, the amount of times that I had people not want to hear the fact that I was not doing well, but ask me how I was doing is insane. It's not always easy. Sometimes it's really, really hard, like physically and mentally. It can be very hard, very isolating, very just a lot of things. And I now have been making sure to be more conscious about asking what other people's needs are, truly, not just like, oh, like, what do you need? No, I'm like, what do you need? What can I do for you? Are you okay? Because I am not. Then I'm fine now. But even still, there's times where I'm so stressed, I'm so emotional, I have so many things going on, and I just need someone to be there for me. And I don't want someone to be like, oh, but your baby should be so happy, blah blah. I know that, I know those things, but I need someone to be like, okay, like, let me help you. So thank you for watching, and I will be doing probably a few more videos going into some of these things a little bit more in detail. Probably like the stuff about struggling with the first trimester and being sick, and probably make a video about my baby's name that I chose and why I chose it. And yeah, so a few more pregnancy related videos. I'll also be making more witchy videos, more spiritual videos, different things like that. So I'm super excited to get this video out as my first video. I'm really excited to be halfway through my pregnancy, and I'm excited to start sharing my journey with you guys. I have a lot of friends and family who are all over the place who aren't going to get to be around for me being pregnant, for the baby being born, and for after the baby is here in this world. So I wanted to start putting videos out there so that everybody that's all over the place can feel like they're involved. And I think that my goal is to be as open and as honest about some of the things that are not so fun and that are really hard about pregnancy, because I think that if more people would talk about those things, people like me, especially going through it for the first time, wouldn't feel so alone and wouldn't feel so confused, and have an easier time coping with some of these things. So again, thank you for watching, and I look forward to making another video soon. Thank you.